What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer for the show, Logan Landers, and join me here this afternoon on this Tuesday to talk about this impressive NFL draft prospect, Shavon Revel Jr., the cornerback out of Eastern Carolina, rocking with the Pirates out there. Helping me out today is Brian LaBelle. Brian, first off, how you doing on this Tuesday afternoon, my friend? And let's talk about this very interesting prospect, someone who had all the hype around him, but unfortunately, like we see with a lot of talented athletes, injuries got in the way, and unfortunately for his draft stock, that is taking a plummet. But talk to me about what you've seen about Shavon and how impressed you came away with.
I'm going to say the only bad thing I saw was his hands. I can see why he plays DB, but I mean, he could have probably had 3 or 4 more interceptions last year. I think that's the only downside. His football instincts and understanding where the quarterback wants to go with the football, be able to read his eyes, jump in front of routes for someone his size is it's incredible. I mean, he's 6'3" and he's able to move around like he is. I think the tape that jumped out the most to me was last year, the game they had against Michigan. It was, hey, they won the whole thing. It's the best team in the country. And he's up in the box. He's making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He's playing the run game really well. He had 2 or 3 PBUs that, honestly, McCarthy probably wish he had 1 or 2, probably one of them back, at least in the red zone, where he just goes up and he makes a great play. And he could have picked it off. And he had a couple of those plays all throughout the season, but if I'm a coach, I'm saying, hey, man, listen, as a DB, your job is to deny the receiver the ball. If you can get an interception, that's awesome. But he's spectacular at it. He was all over the field. Special teams wise, he blocked 2 kicks last year. I mean, if you're a team that's looking to bring in a guy who can kind of fill 2 roster spots, I know for a fact he can play special teams because I watched it. I saw it. He was there. Having a 6'3" DB, though, I think he's 4.4 speed was his unofficial at East Carolina, which, hey, we got a combine that he's not going to be a part of. So that's the only speed that we really have on tape for him right now or have on record. It's really hard, even though he missed most of the season with an injury, it's going to be really hard to pass up on a guy of that caliber. Because if he's anything like he was at East Carolina at the professional level, he's going to be a star.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And like you said, his coming out party wasn't this year; it was in 2023, where you first heard about this young man and how impressive he was. But for this year, it was unfortunate. He played in 3 games before he was hurt in practice. Also, just a freak injury, hurt his ACL, and that caused him to miss his final year of collegiate play. But in 23 with Eastern Carolina, that was a great year for him. 6 passes defended, Brian, as you said. He had a total of 55 tackles with 30 solos as well. So 30 solos as a corner, that means he's a solid tackler there as well. He got 1 pick last year, and he also got, in 3 games, he got 2 picks in 24. So, he was poised for a good season, I think. But it's just unfortunate he did get hurt all in all. But like I said, it's a guy who has just really good speed. Like I said, unofficial 4.40, comes in around 6'2", 6'3", under 200 pounds. But I mean, he's in great shape already. You can see he's got the 6-pack. He's all lean and trimmed up. So he's definitely eating his egg whites and a steak for breakfast. But Shavon is an interesting player, and Brian, I like the fact that you mentioned that. Yes, he is. He did drop in draft mock boards due to that injury, which is unfortunate, but the thing that I think helps out Shavon is the fact that he is versatile in the fact of that he can play special teams, which will help his draft stock. And he's good at it too. It's not like he's just a guy playing special teams. You mentioned he had a couple of block kicks there. So he has that good athleticism and that speed, like we talked about. That if you got speed like that, you're going to find a roster spot somewhere. It might not be as a starting cornerback like you prefer at the moment, but hey, it gets you on the roster for the time being, and it just kind of takes maybe a little bit of luck sometimes to get where you need to go. But he's got great speed, and also an 11-foot broad jump as well, unofficial as well, Eastern Carolina. So I mean, this is just an absolute just feature athletic. Like I said, I wish that we could have gotten him in the combine, man, because I know he would have showed out, and that would have gotten a lot more eyeballs on him nationally. But he is an impressive player nonetheless, and someone who like I said, he's got something he's wanting to prove. If he hadn't been hurt, I mean, he could have been easily, I think, maybe a 1st-round talent, 2nd-round talent for sure. but what I like about him is he's got really good length, right? Like you said, he's good at pass breakups. He's good at getting his body in front of the ball as a corner. He seems like he's always there. The athleticism, that speed helps him for sure. He's got good, it's just like I said, he's good with his recovery speed as well. If he gets beat, he can catch back up to you real quick, which that's hard to do, especially in the league. So that'll be something for him. That is going to be a good characteristic for him in the NFL. But I mean, he's got good IQ. Like I say, you don't see him out of place. You see him always he's always near the ball. Like I said, he's got those 30 solo tackles last year. And I think that he is a very special player, I think. And someone who it's going to be a late round get, obviously. But just got to be patient with him. Like I say, tore his ACL in September. So he might not, he'll still be coming off a little bit slower to start the year after you draft him, I would think, just to get his legs back under him. But with him, I think that he's had, you just have to go back and look at the tape. Like you said, if you look back at the game against Michigan is the big one, like you had mentioned, where he had that great performance against the national championship. And like I said, don't look at the final score for that game. That don't matter. Just look at the individual performance. You'll see that Shavon was an absolute dog on the sidelines there at the cornerback position. But what do you think? Any final thoughts you have on this man, Brian, about Shavon Revel Jr., the cornerback out of Eastern Carolina?
Well, he's got really good size, which you can't teach, and he seems to enjoy playing the run, which is kind of a lost art among defensive backs in this era. So if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm kind of licking my chops because this is a guy you could probably get day 3. I mean, realistically, just because if Eastern Carolina's not lying, they're saying, yeah, he does run a 4.4. Yes, his broad jump is correct. Yes, he can do all of these things. It's spectacular. Yes. How can I get him? Why is he not on my team already? No. So I mean, he's got NFL level IQ for what I've seen already. His instincts in the secondary, understanding where his receiver is when a play breaks down, which is, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy as good. He always seems to be where the ball needs to go. He's in the way. The quarterback has to hesitate, take another step, maybe take a sack at the next level. That's something that would, help. Defensive ends would love that. Like, hey, yeah, make him hold on the ball a little bit longer. Get me another sack. Get me paid. But there's that. Like I said, the only thing that I saw as far as a flaw in his game was his hands. That's why they put him at DB. He didn't have great hands. He could have had 2 or 3 more interceptions, but everything else looks really good. And I think someone's going to get a steal for him probably late. Maybe like a 4th or 5th round guy, but I probably 5th, 6th, maybe 7th.
Yeah. I think that this is going to be a case of a team needs someone to kind of fill a spot. Maybe, I don't know about practice squad or anything like that, but maybe just we need some depth at this position, right? And might fall to a good team. We would hope, right? Falls to a really solid team that he could help out with. And if that's the case, I think you'll see more of him on the special team side. You'll see a lot of him, on field goals, on punts, et cetera, doing his thing over there. But if he goes to a lesser team, there could be a chance he could maybe beat out someone. And I don't know if he'd be a starter day 1, but could maybe. I think he has the ability to build up to that. If all goes well, if he plays to the level that we believe that he can perform to. But I think that overall, that with Shavon, he's a solid corner, a just freak of nature in terms of athleticism. It's just really unfortunate he tore his ACL. That's a kicker right there. If he hadn't, like, this guy might be day 1 pick for, might have been locked in. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Life can be cruel, but I know he's going to make the best of whatever ability he has, and whatever team drafts him. I think he get a steal in this upcoming 2025 NFL draft. Well, hey, for my co-host today, Brian Lebel, thank you so much, man, for coming on and talking about this impressive corner out of East Carolina. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode talking about Shavon Revel Jr., cornerback out of East Carolina, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, Facebook and YouTube. And also go and download our podcast every single week. Until next time, we'll see you guys again on another live episode.